Good morning, everyone. Your morning weather briefing for this Monday, May 7th, finds that there are no major changes in the forecast versus what I presented yesterday. A couple of weather systems impacting the Corn Belt for tomorrow through the weekend or even Monday will eventually produce some widespread significant or even heavy rainfall amounts in the region. It's not a wet forecast for the mid-south and southeast, with particularly dry weather there for today through the weekend. Largely dry conditions in the hard red winter wheat belt through Friday or Saturday. Rain chances after that, but nothing that it looks especially big or widespread. We will be seeing heat this week in the southern plains with 90s for highs on most any day, and some 100-degree temperatures going to be seen for late this week. Rains in the northern plains mainly for tonight, tomorrow, and again for Thursday, Friday, favoring central and southern portions of that area. Temperature and rainfall forecast this morning, not a whole lot of differences versus what I presented yesterday. Again, emphasizing yesterday's point that the 6 to 10 day forecast has turned a good deal cooler than what was suggested for back on Friday. Cooler weather entering the northern plains by Thursday and expanding southward and eastward from there for Friday through early next week before temperatures warm up again for the 11 to 15 day period. My 11 to 15 day forecast certainly not cool, but I am still biased towards the models that are not as warm as, say, the GFS Ensemble. Rainfall forecasting that I will point out there is the lack of confidence in the details of the 11 to 15 day period. If the forecast that I'm showing for the 11 to 15 day time frame is wrong, it is that I am going probably somewhat too dry. For the 1 to 5 day QPF discussion, no real disagreements with what is shown there. Again, like yesterday, if I were to have drawn this map, maybe I would have gone a little bit drier, but given the fact that your biggest rains in this map are going to be occurring for very late in the period, I'm not going to be making a big case against what is shown, and you can still see the very limited rains that they are showing for the hard red winter wheat belt eastward into the mid-south and southeast. For the day 6 to 7 time frame, I like where the QPF is showing the best rainfall amounts to occur. Wouldn't be surprised, though, if rainfall coverage is somewhat less than is shown, but rainfall amounts may actually be somewhat better than is shown for the day 6 to 7 day time frame, which would cover next weekend. Afternoon high temperatures yesterday. A big portion of the plains and into the Corn Belt saw temperatures running more than 10 degrees above normal. Notable in the southern plains is a fairly extensive area of 90 plus degree temperatures that covered a fairly significant portion of the winter wheat area of Oklahoma and Texas, and for small portions of the winter wheat area of southern Kansas. Rainfall over the past 24 hours, pretty insignificant. Very spotty activity covering portions of the southeastern Corn Belt. If you were under the right storm, you got a localized decent amount, but the vast majority of the amounts were very light, and coverage again was quite spotty. Regarding my expectations for the crop progress report this afternoon, I'm looking for a national corn planting progress figure of 36% done, and I'm looking at a 54 to 55% done figure as an early guess for the May 13th, for the week ending May 13th, I should say. For spring wheat, looking for 40% done as of May 6th, so that would be for this afternoon's report, and I'm speculating on a 64% done figure for the report to be released a week from today. As far as the forecast is concerned, as I noted, a couple of systems going to be impacting the Corn Belt for this, for especially for tomorrow through the end of the weekend or even into Monday. Here again is the first system as indicated by the European model. This is valid as of 7 o'clock in the morning on Wednesday. And again, that first system is going to be a fairly weak upper level system and thus not producing any sort of real big rains in the Corn Belt. I think that most amounts on the order of quarter to 3/4 of an inch, locally a little bit heavier. Northwestern Corn Belt likely seeing the best totals. It is for late this week, especially for around Thursday night through the end of the weekend or even into Monday, when a much more significant rainfall event is going to be impacting the Corn Belt, and that is due to the fact that it's going to be having a lot more dynamics to work with. On this slide here, I'm showing the European model from 7 o'clock in the morning on Friday on the left and 7 o'clock in the morning on Saturday on the right. For Friday morning, you can see low pressure that is located over western portions of Kansas with a warm front extending to the north of there and a dry line extending further southward. To the east, to the right there, you can see the situation for Saturday morning. Again, low pressure still in western Kansas. warm front extending to the northeast of there, and still your dry line into southwestern portions of the plain states. You can see that the system is not moving a whole lot between Friday and Saturday. Another reason why the system of late this week is going to be producing bigger rainfall amounts in the Corn Belt at that time. As far as total rainfall is concerned for the period in question, again for tomorrow through the weekend or even into a portion of Monday. Again, pretty widespread significant rainfall indicated from all the models across a big portion of the Corn Belt region. I would think that the vast majority of the area is going to be seeing over an inch. If there is an area that gets shortchanged, it would be the far south or the far southwest. Like yesterday, I think that the European ensemble and even this morning the GFS ensemble has joined in as well in my thinking that it is going to be the Iowa-Minnesota border area and nearby places that see the biggest rains over the next week or a little bit longer than that. Longer term for the 11 to 15 day time frame, which is what I'm showing on these slides, rainfall from the various models for the 11 to 15 day period. A situation where clearly it will be not anything close to dry across the middle of the country, just a situation where we need to nail down some details. I will admit that the forecast for the 11 to 15 day period today is a little bit drier for the hard red winter wheat belt. I think that that area is going to be dry for today through Friday. A modest chance for rainfall for later Friday into Saturday that is likely not going to be doing all that much. And then again, like I just said, the 11 to 15 day forecast trending a little bit wetter, but I think that we still have a lot of details to be worked out. Other forecasters may note this morning that the GFS operational model overnight went exceptionally wet for a big portion of the winter wheat area of the southern plains for the 11 to 15 day period, backed up to some degree by its ensemble. Not willing to buy into that forecast just yet. Again, a lot of details still to be worked out in the 11 to 15 day period. Certainly going to be rain chances, just a matter now of determining exactly how significant they will be and where the best rains are actually going to be falling. Temperature-wise, a situation where we are looking at a lot of warmth for the next several days. Again, as I mentioned, 90-degree temperatures on every day across a portion of the winter wheat area of the southern plains for today through Friday or even Saturday, and a lot of warmth in that same period across a good portion of the Corn Belt as well. Cooler temperature is going to be working its way into the northern plains, though, on Thursday, and by the time we get to Friday and Saturday, we are looking at a very strong temperature contrast across the middle of the country. European models temperature for late in the day on Friday on the left and for late in the day on Saturday on the right. And notice some of the big temperature contrasts that we are looking at. Portions of the northeastern Corn Belt seeing highs in the 50s or even 40s on Friday, while not far away. We are looking at 85 plus degree temperatures and of course 95 to 100 plus degree temperatures on that day in the southern plains. As we look towards Saturday, more instead of a north to south temperature contrast as we'll see on Friday, it's a northwest to southeast temperature contrast on Saturday. Cooler air on that day moving into the plain states with 40s and even 40s and 50s for highs, but not far away. Look at southeastern Kansas down into the Texas Panhandle, 95 to 100 plus degree temperatures. So again, as I pointed out with yesterday's video, big temperature contrast going to be seen in the Corn Belt for the end of this week. A key reason why the weather system at that time is going to be one that produces a lot of rainfall. We can get a little bit more close in on this temperature contrast that we're looking at. For Iowa, the high temperature forecast is there on the right. Notice 50 degree temperatures in northeastern Iowa for high temperatures on Friday, while the southwestern portion of the state sees high temperatures well into the 80s, some places close to 90 degrees. For Kansas, for high temperatures on Saturday, you can see that some portions of the far northwestern corner of Kansas only seeing highs in the 40s to around 50, while not far away in northwestern portions of Oklahoma, we are going to be seeing readings at 100 degrees or a little bit higher than that. Longer term for the 11 to 15 day forecast, again emphasizing that while my forecast is clearly not cool, I am leaning towards the cooler solutions from the European ensemble that is located there on the center bottom of the screen, and compare that to the GFS ensemble in the upper left, which is considerably warmer. We'll note this morning that the Canadian ensemble has finally fallen into a better agreement with the European ensemble, giving me more confidence that my somewhat cooler solution to the 11 to 15 day temperature forecast is on track. Internationally, in Brazil, a situation where we are looking at below normal rainfall for the next 2 weeks across the Safrina corn areas of Brazil. Your driest area clearly going to be eastern Mato Grosso, Goiás, nearby areas of Minas Gerais and Bahia, where 2 week rainfall totals will be next to nothing. Again, a situation though that after the next 5 days are dry, we are looking at rains returning to the corn areas of Mato Grosso do Sul and into Paraná, likely some 3/4 inch to 2 inch rainfall amounts there for the duration of the 6 to 10 through 11 to 15 day time frames. Note though that even with that rain in the forecast, 2 week rainfall totals in that area still looking to average below normal. Argentina, more big rains through Thursday and then drying out there. In Europe, a situation where the forecast is still not especially dry for a lot of the winter grain areas of the former Soviet Union. Certainly not a situation where no rain is going to be falling, but all of the rain that you do see there is very late in the 6 to 10 day period, making it rather suspect. A lot of the winter grain area of the former Soviet Union going to be seeing minimal amounts of rainfall, some places nothing at all for today through Saturday. Not a wet forecast for Europe over at least the next week anyway, then some rains returning to portions of Europe for the 6 to 10 day period. Again, the fact that so much of that rain is late in the forecast period does make it suspect in nature. In China, I mentioned yesterday that they had some good rains for the 48-hour period ending yesterday morning in southern winter wheat areas. They added on more to those rainfall totals during the last 24 hours. These are 72-hour totals for the entire weekend period, and you can see that some of the far southeastern growing areas had rainfall amounts in excess of 4 or even 5 inches. The next 10 days will continue to be quite wet for a big portion of the winter wheat areas of the North China Plain, with only about the northern half of Shandong and areas north of there not seeing additional significant or even heavy amounts of rainfall. It looks like rains will be returning to the corn areas of Manchuria as we get towards the 6 to 10 day period. Finally, this morning in Australia, a situation where widespread below normal rainfall is going to be dominating the winter wheat areas of Australia during the next 2 weeks. The only rain that is in the forecast for that time frame would be for about the Wednesday through Friday time frame of this week, when we are going to be seeing portions of the winter wheat area of southeastern New South Wales into eastern Victoria picking up some half to 1 inch rainfall amounts. That area will then dry out for Saturday, and the entire Australian winter wheat area looking at completely dry weather for Saturday through at least the end of the 2 week forecast period. That's what I have for you this morning. Everyone have themselves a great day.